Hi, welcome to the Play Typer Guy podcast. I am Stephen Robinson, and joining me today is actor, writer, performer, all around clever person, Teal Sherer, and director, choreographer, and amazingly talented manager of Mini Hats Productions, Jessica Wallenfels. Thank you guys for joining us.
Hi, Stephen. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
And I obviously want to talk about the production you guys are working on. It's going to be at the Seattle Public Theater. Can you tell us the name and what it's all going to be about and what you guys are doing with it? I'm just going to kind of lean into you and let you guys take it from there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's called The World Looks Different Sitting Down. And it's a kind of exploration of my life as a wheelchair user. And we touch on a lot of different things like disability representation, how I met my husband and marriage, having a child, all the awkward situations I find myself in as a wheelchair user. And yeah, we cover a lot, and there's a lot of fun movement and choreography. I have a background in dance, in modern dance, and so we have some great choreography. And
I always tell people it's like actor, mom, wheelchair user, and disability advocate. Teal Sherer tells all.
It is very revealing. People will leave knowing a lot about me. A lot.
Was that hard or easy for you? Are you we joked about this before we came on. Are you a sharer or naturally speaking or
yeah, in some ways, yes. I would say I'm a pretty open person, but I think one of the big things in the show that I go back is I go back to when I was 14 years old. Like I go back and play my 14-year-old Teal who was in a car crash at 14 years old and became paralyzed, and really look at what that was and that effect it had on me, and going to rehab and what it was like going back to school, and that transition to living in a world that's not set up for you, and what that was like for me. So though that is a part of my life that I really haven't gone back and examined. I'm good at just like compartmentalizing my life. Like I'm good at, like, if something happens, just like putting that in a box, shoving it away and moving on. And I'm a pretty positive outlook person. So I think it was good for me to kind of go back and be like, no, actually, this was really a hard time. And a lot of this really sucked. And this is what it was like. And to just be vulnerable and honest about that has been good for me to just share that. Yeah.
It's such a transformative part of your life. Obviously, because I have a son who is a wheelchair user, has mobility challenges. He uses predominantly a walker, but that's been his entire experience. He's mentioned it's kind of like, this is just who I am. I remember one of the first things he was doing a self-portrait of himself, and it was, at 3 or 4, and it's with the walker, because that's him. Like that's how he engages with the world. Whereas by the time you're 14, I imagine you have a sense of who I am and how I engage with the world, and then that suddenly changes. Is very different. And so that I find that such a fascinating thing to kind of explore. And also how, if I understand, I'd imagine you were interested in performance prior to your accident? And did that change things? Or was this sort of like, this is what I've always been interested in, and I'm still going to find a way to continue?
Yeah. I was a cheerleader when I was injured. That was my only,
And a swimmer.
I was a swimmer. And a cheerleader. But as far as like performance, I guess cheerleading is a form of performance. You're out in front of people, like dancing and cheerleading, kind of.
It seems to me that Teal has always been a physical person, and that didn't change.
Yes, you're right. That's a good way to put it. I was very physical before sports, like gymnastics, cheerleading, swimming, always. Yeah. So that stayed the same. I didn't become interested though in like acting until after the car crash. I became very aware that afterwards that I didn't see myself represented on TV and in films and on magazines. I used to have a subscription to 17 magazine, and I'm like, why don't I ever see wheelchair users in the magazine? And I would kind of daydream about what that would be like to be like, modeling something in the magazine, or what if there was a romantic comedy that had a wheelchair user in it? And I started daydreaming about that and kind of shared that with my mom. And she found me my first agent when I was, 16 or 17 years old, living outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. So it wasn't like there was a ton of acting work, but I found an agent who was like, yeah, I'm going to represent you. And she got me some work, and that was cool. And then in college is when I really got into it. I took an acting class through the theater department, and I had a unusual experience in that it was a good experience. The theater department was brand new, and so everything was ADA accessible, which for me was kind of new at that time, to have it be in a building that was truly accessible, because I was injured in 1995 and the ADA was passed in 1990. So it wasn't until those new buildings, were being built in the 90s after the ADA was passed that you really went into a building and you're like, oh, there are accessible bathrooms, there's grab bars, I can get on the stage of the theater, I can get down to the dressing rooms. And so I loved that building. I was like, I just want to live in here. And then I had a professor, Troy, who I talk about in the show, who was just like so encouraging, didn't see my disability as a detriment, but if anything, saw it as like a unique perspective that should be shared with the world. So yeah, that was my start.
I'd kind of grown up, I guess, as many liberals and many as artists, of like, Europe is so much better than America. I want to live in Europe and the cobblestone streets and all these streams. And I've been going there with my son and realizing, oh, this is a place without an ADA. Like,
yes.
Yes. That's a lot. Yes. Every day was a new challenge, horror in many ways, that you're sort of very grateful for relatively new legislation here.
And Teal talks about that in the show too. That's like sort of the third act is traveling.
Oh yeah, when traveling, and how awful traveling is for me. Like air travel. Oh my God.
It is tough. It's a constant the constant battle. We always try to like make sure to get our son's wheelchair on, because they have like, it folds so you can get it into the closet on the plane. And literally have my wife will have to drop the lawyer card and be like, the ADA requires it. You will have to actually remove your bag, stewardess or flight attendant, so that my son's chair will not get banged up, because we checked it and it's, God help you, as to the condition it turns up in. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Teal covers that and kind of gets into, and also always with humor is the incredible about it, is that she handles how infuriating that is. And some of the videos that she showed me about disabled people on planes, the lengths that they have to go to use the bathroom are horrifying. She really broaches that in like with humor, but it makes you think.
Oh, it's a lot. And one of the things that intrigued me about your story and seeing this, and I plan to see it, coming up to Seattle to see it, is that of like living sort of in the world in that way, and sort of in my position as a caregiver, seeing it a lot and just going places and just like, oh my God, oh come on, why are you using the one accessible bathroom?
I talk about that too. You're gonna love it. I do it. You're gonna love it.
Always give the stink eye to the guy who walks out. It's like, you couldn't wait, really? Like,
just wait to see what I do to them in the show. You wait.
There is comic book level retribution that is handed out. It is doled out. Justice is doled out.
Yeah,
justice doled out. Yes, I'm so glad to see that. And
while we're on it, I have to say we have expanded seating for wheelchair users every night. And we also have every performance is open captioned to increase the accessibility for all people.
Yeah. That's so wonderful. And I know in theater, someone who works in theater, obviously, that has been somewhat of a tension, right? Often older, especially older buildings and older things, it has tended to be something that is um, an extra obstacle. And as someone who loves the arts, it's always kind of frustrating to like, oh my god, why are we putting obstacles in something that I love for people that it's not accessible? And it's sort of my own view had been like that art was this sort of universal thing and it opens for everyone. And is no, it's actually not. Like a lot of places, it's a lot of work and a lot of dealing, and of course, often sort of making sure you're the one they're equipped to deal with like one person with a disability at a time because they have no other that people sort of exist. And I'd like to ask you about that when you talk about with casting and doing work, because one of the challenges I've seen is this idea that if we have someone with a visible disability in particular in anything, that is the story. So why would I why would you why are you in this if you're not, if it's not about the disability as opposed to the sort of normalization that these people exist. There's a great organization called Fame that has done that, of trying to get cast people in, and you'll see the audience sort of see the wheelchair user who and be like, okay, well, what is this story? It's almost like seeing like a Klingon in something. It's like, oh, well, okay, is this Star Trek? Like, why is there a Klingon on the stage? Like, why are they just doing normal stuff? It's like, well, no, these people exist in the world. They've always existed. So of course, this person would be a secretary or a conductor or anything in the world. And can you tell us a bit about your experience with that, or like with casting and people?
Yeah, that's also something we talk about on the show. So I lived in Los Angeles from about 2005 to 2011, 12. And that was one of the things my agent and I came up against, is that he could only get me auditions for disability roles, and there weren't many of those being written or out there. So it's like I would rarely get auditions. And then I'd get auditions for these disability roles, which often felt like stereotypes, where you were made to feel sorry for them, or they were like inspirational, just there to make audiences feel better about themselves. And then my agent would try to get me into audition for like the teacher, the best friend, and would come against casting directors saying that it wouldn't make sense for me to play those parts because they'd have to explain in the storyline why I'm disabled, which makes no sense because like I don't go around every day explaining my medical history to every person I meet. So yes, that's definitely
and even more so, like, not to spoil, but I mean, in the show, Teal has a line of dialogue that it takes that idea even further and is worse, I think, in terms of the reason why people wouldn't cast someone in a disabled person is.
The not thinking that. A casting director told my agent once that she thought it would make people feel sad seeing somebody with a disability playing those roles, like a teacher, or they'd be more thinking like, oh, why is she in a wheelchair? Poor thing. Oh, that's so sad. I will say that I feel like it has slowly gotten better. I have been seeing more and more actors with disabilities playing just like any role, like that's not even focused on their disability, which has been amazing to see, and is also like still a big thing. When you see it, it's a big deal. You're like, oh my gosh, they're really disabled and they're just playing the teacher. Whoa, and they don't even bring it up. And how cool is that freaking teacher? Yeah. Like the wheelchair to me like adds another like layer of, oh, that's cool. Like whatever. It's just another
piece of their character.
Piece of their. I mean, it's because it's there, so you see it, but it's like you don't have to talk about it. And if it does come up in something, that's great too. Like you don't have to shy away from it either. Like I don't, so it's, it's interesting. And I've done shows where I've played disabled characters. Like I did Cost of Living, which was, it was on Broadway. I did the Seattle premiere where I played a woman who is injured in an accident and she's a quadriplegic. And so the character's, is disabled. And then, I've done shows where I play characters who aren't disabled, and it's just like which to me is so much fun. That I'm just the character, and it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. Like why couldn't you be Juliet?
Yeah.
Also,
Totally.
like,
Yeah. Totally.
there's no, because some
There's
of
no.
it is acting. So certain cases of
Yes.
like
Yeah.
that shouldn't be a challenge. I know my son had done Christmas Carol for a few years here in Portland, and the
Yep.
first year, he's done commercials, he's done stuff. He's a very talented young man, but he was sort of resistant at first. The idea of, I don't want to do Tiny Tim, that's so stereotypical and whatever.
Yeah.
And then he did it, and he was great. But then, kind of the next year, he thought, oh, I guess I can never, I've done Tiny Tim, and I'm too old, and I could never do it. But sure, you could. It's acting. You could be any other of the Project Kids, and he is. And to the Portland Playhouse's credit, they make his walker Victorian looking. They sort of
love that.
Is this gut of, and he just plays the part. And they've done a great work of accessibility as well, sort of making sure that he was able to use the same dressing room as sort of the other kids in the youth cast, that it wasn't just segregated, because that's often a challenge for young people. The sort of accommodations don't kind of include sort of full inclusion with everyone else. It's sort of a normal experience. I don't know if you touch on this in the play, of where sometimes we've gone to hotels and it'll be like this beautiful entrance way to like one of their parts of the property, but it's not really accessible. And well, what's accessible? Well, we have an accessible route, and it's like by the trash can to the bins.
Yes.
Are we gonna get whacked like on the way? Like, where's the could you just could you pave the night? There's like trees and like dandelion, like beautiful areas, and I'm taking the kid by the trash cans, and like it's like not pleasant.
No, it's so isolating. I know we've gone to restaurants before where the only entrance is like through the back of the restaurant, through the kitchen, like through the nasty, like you said, the trash. Yeah, I'm going through, and all the people are there, like trying to cook, and I'm like, sorry, sorry, and it's just like, wow, and it's like I'm never going back there again now that I know this. But yeah.
Representation is a wonderful thing. We talked a bit about this prior to coming on, of how, because you've done some great videos online. We'll talk about the series is called Your Gimpy Life. Is that correct?
My Gimpy Life.
Yeah. Yes. I'm always weird with pronouns, because it's my Gimpy Life, but yours, and so I said wrong.
But your Gimpy
Life. You so a few years back you had played Barbara Gordon, who for comic book fans is Batgirl, but at the time she had been a character called Oracle. She was a wheelchair user, but they changed that, and it's sort of like now she's Batgirl again. She's been miraculously cured, and that was and that was interesting, because it was a sense of a lot of debate at the time, because she was a character who was sort of disability representation you often did not see, especially in superhero comics or adventure work and so forth. Beyond, I mean, I don't know if you've been following this regarding Star Trek. So a lot of the worst people in the world, including Elon Musk, has been doing a lot of Nazi stuff because there's a wheelchair user, I believe, on one of the newer shows. And it's very much like, why is there a wheelchair user in the future? There should be no wheelchair users in the future. They also had a problem with a woman who was not a size 12. So why are there fat women in the future? And why are there black people? It's like, I don't know. It sounds like really Nazi stuff you're talking about. Your idealized future is hella Nazi. But
hella Nazi.
Not my future.
No, that was the fun. I did that Barbara Gordon video because they had come out saying that she was no longer going to be Oracle, and it was like she was healed again. And I think I played it as, I need to go back and rewatch it. It's been a while, but I played it as like, I'm so annoyed that I'm going to have to be walking again, because like, what about the parking privileges? What about the this? What about the this? But kind of like the flip side about, fuck, I'm going to have to walk again.
Normal.
Yeah, like this is bullshit. So that was kind of fun to just do like a different perspective of it, of like, yeah, how this sucks. They're gonna make me walk now. How dare they? And it was fun because, oh my gosh, the writer Gail Simone, she's the writer of the comic and had written a lot of the Birds of Prey. She's
great.
And she saw it, and we messaged back. She's like, I love this. This is so good. And we've met at like some conventions in person, which was great. So it was cool. Yeah.
She's amazingly talented. She did great work with the character, because I think, especially because, and we discussed this, like Barbara, the idea was like in an unrelated Batman story, the Joker essentially sexually assaults her and paralyzes her. He shoots her in the spine, but it's totally just to drive her father crazy and annoy Batman. But it's not about Barbara Gordon or Batgirl at all. And and then later writers said, okay, well, she's a great character. Let's still use this character, even though she had been kind of misused and how this happened. And I think it was John Ostrander, and then later Gail Simone did great work in like, showing a wheelchair user who's essentially still a superhero who, and she was one of the first, right, who's sort of, well before Chloe on 24, of kind of the character who is the whiz at the computer and hacking
at the computer. But then also, I love that you just didn't see her sometimes behind the computer. Like sometimes she'd be out on the street, like, so it wasn't just like they got her, when she was out. I like to see like that she just wasn't behind the computer all the time.
That she's still able to sort of function in the world and exist, and like everything.
She will fight somebody and win.
More rules like that, please.
I know. Yeah.
Like, we're hoping we're moving past people saying it's depressing to see someone with a disability on stage or whatever. That people are at least open to being casting you in any number of roles or performances. So
totally. And I do think on some levels we are seeing that slowly getting better.
And I think Seattle Public in particular has a focus on inclusion and belonging in a boundary breaking way that is non-traditional for theater. For the idea that theater is for cultural elites is like anathema to Amy Poisson, the artistic director. Yeah. It's her mission in life to make sure everyone feels welcome at Seattle Public, from what I've experienced.
Yeah.
And
that's great.
That goes for whoever you are, wherever you came from. Please come in and have a good time and see yourself.
Yeah.
And the humorous aspect is also great, that you're able to sort of, it was kind of Muhammad Ali who said, like, everyone has unseen obstacles when that's all everything is, right? So and I've sort of applied that to theater. It's always about wherever the character is, whether they're Black or white or a wheelchair user or not, like, what are you just put them in a sort of, just give them a story, and they're going to, whatever the obstacles they have, they will respond to it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be about what their identity is. It's just sort of, everyone's going to have to respond to their obstacles differently. And it's just great that you are kind of doing that, while also, I've always loved Jessica's work with choreography and movement, and it's just wonderful to sort of have you two team up together. Can you talk a bit about that experience and work? Have you worked together previously?
Yeah, a tiny bit. Yeah, we did a reading together in Portland of a sumac play called Monograms that specifically called for a wheelchair user, and I called up a casting director I barely know, and he recommended Teal's website, and I was like, oh, I think this is the person. So we were able to work together in Portland a little bit, and then my company has a new works development program called The Hatchery. And The Hatchery is still really new. Last year it was in its second year, and so I was going out to all of my friends and colleagues and saying, hey, apply for The Hatchery. Teal was that rare person that was like, will you just read my play? I said, sure. And then sort of a road opened through Seattle Public Theater. So I was like, yeah, I'm on this ride. And, I just, in terms of inclusion, one of the things that always strikes me about our partnership here is that when I read the play, it was so funny how much I related to it. And I am a non-disabled person, but like we both got agents as teenagers. I had an agent in Tacoma, Washington who started representing me, and studied theater in college, and this very, sort of some shades of grandiosity, that are in Teal's story about her study were also in mine. We both lived in Los Angeles and sort of lived that dream/nightmare for a little while. And then we both moved back to the Pacific Northwest. It was new for you, but it was my home because I'm originally from Tacoma, Washington. And like left LA eventually to come back, to this quieter corner where we knew that the work was not going to be as plentiful as it was in Los Angeles, and we had to make our own way. So it's crazy how much I identify and relate to Teal's story, even as a non-disabled person. And I take that as like, the Rosetta Stone that makes theater what it is. It's like I can unlock understanding some of Teal's experience through the ways where we overlap and get into the places that I don't understand a little bit easier with her storytelling. And that is so special to me. And I hope that other people feel that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think one of the complaints about theater is that it can be didactic or depressing and kind of not trying to connect with you, but sort of lecture to you or whatever. And I that doesn't interest me either as well. And what I love is what I'm hearing here is that this is sort of, it's a relatable story told well, with finding the humor, not shying away from tough things. Obviously, and I have a son around who's going to be 12. Yes, I get it. If you're a parent, it's going to be, oh, I don't want to think about my child potentially being in a car accident that changes their life. But think about it, and it could be exposed to things that are tough to think about, but also in a way that is, and you talked about the uplifting angle. It doesn't have to be uplifting as in like we're going to make you feel better about it. Like it's just more of just it.
Yeah.
Life happens, right?
Life happens.
How we respond to life is what's compelling.
Totally. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like life can be, fucking sad and frustrating and awful, and also hilarious and beautiful and meaningful. You can be all the things.
How long had you worked on this play? How long did it take you?
Yeah, I started writing it about 3.5 years ago. I took an online class that was geared towards actors creating their own material, kind of specifically for stage, kind of specifically like one person shows. And so I took that class, which was great because it's like every week we had to come in with some new material, and we shared it with the rest of the the class, and then would get some feedback. And it was a great way just kind of hold me accountable, so I'd actually would like write something, like get something done to share in class. And so I worked on that for a while, on and off, and would have periods where I was like, why am I doing this? Who cares? And then but kind of kept at it. And then it really helped once Jessica read it and came on board, because it's such a lonely process when you're writing. And I was like, I need somebody on my team who is like in my corner. And Jessica has had so much great feedback and ideas. Like we have this great relationship where we're so great at like kind of feeding off each other. Like Jessica will have an idea and I'm like, yes. And then what about this? Yes. And then what about this? Oh no. Okay, let's try this. Yes. I feel like we're working really well in a creative way. We work well together, and
the on your wheels writing has been like a huge part of the process. And that's not always the case. A lot of times writers will write a draft and then they need to hear that in actors' mouths, and then they'll go away and tweak and stuff. But in this unique situation, it's, there are aspects that are akin to stand up. And so or even clown, which is more my background, and we're kind of like workshopping it, you know, in real time.
Yeah.
And that process started about a year ago.
Yes, we started a year ago. We did a reading last year at Seattle Public Theater, which was so helpful. Doing that, we did a 2-night reading workshop, which was great. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I know people who might not have concepts. When I think of especially one-person shows, solo shows, I go to some of my favorites being Whoopi Goldberg and then Lily Tomlin. I don't know if that had ever been an influence, but you know, those are things that I find just so compelling, so entertaining, and rich. And in the world of probably find a better term for it, stand-up comedy, Richard Pryor's work was sort of the way of it. He always wanted to be theater. He's playing different characters and different parts. It's not just telling jokes. It's sort of you know, living this. And it seems like you, because you play your young self, and you're probably you playing other people in your world as well. Would you say you're playing different parts?
Yeah, there are. Yeah, that's one great thing that Jessica brought in was like I talk about some of these, you know, characters in my show, like my first agent, Cindy Swicegood, owner of 18 Karat Models and Talent. And she was a character, like, and so instead of me just talking about her, what if I play her? And that's been cool. So Jessica really has had, so I play her. I play my first theater professor, Troy. I have a preacher that I play. And it's funny. Yeah, and Jessica actually introduced me to Whoopi's special. When just the kind like we should look at the character work is amazing, and it's like let's look at so.
But also I would say Fleabag was
a
departure point for both of us at the beginning.
Yeah,
and a little bit later, John Leguizamo's Latin History for Morons.
I love that one as well. Yeah.
Yes,
been influential.
Yeah, and I loved Rachel Bloom's latest special, Death Let Me Do My Show or whatever it is. It's on Netflix. It's
She's amazingly talented. And Fleabag, as I understand, was a one-person show before it became the
before the TV show. Yes. So we're talking about the solo show that she did, which is incredible, and
it's really good.
So it's there's a lot of reference points, and then also there's dance and choreography, and there's a lot of
Teal
stuff.
really wanted to dance. She wanted to move. There's dance written into the script. So I knew that she was serious. And I was super interested in working with her in the chair, me learning more about it. And that's just been a gorgeous continuation of my lifelong study of movement and working with movement with actors. It's been really mind expanding in an amazing way.
And for how long will it be running for people who are interested in getting tickets and checking it out?
Yeah, we open February 20th and it runs for 2 weeks until March 1st. And then we're hoping we do more though. I mean, I'm hoping to do more in Seattle, hopefully in Portland. We're looking at,
Please,
so
come on down.
Yes. So, I mean, this is like, it's a 2-week run, but we will do more of it. I'm not going to say I hope we do, because fuck that. Yeah. We will do more.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking with me about this production. I'm so excited to see it, and I think people are going to really enjoy it. And you're amazingly talented person, and so I'm so glad that you kind of are able to kind of have this sort of opportunity to really put a spotlight on kind of yourself in a way. So it's cool. And working with Jessica, who's also so great. You talked about your clown background. I always love that because I am a big fan of I think people have, the scary clowns. We talked about the Joker, and the scary clowns have ruined it. There's such a great art form in clown, and
this is European clown, people.
Not the scary, Barnum and Bailey clown.
Actors are always like, "Ugh, don't say clown, yuck." Right?
No, there's just yeah, again, I won't go too far in the field of it because I'm so middle-aged and weird, but I love that work. And I was very excited that you will be bringing some of that into the production. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so please, everyone, there'll be links below. This is for where you can get tickets. There'll be a link to some of Teal's great YouTube clips in the my Substack. So go check all of this out. Like, share, subscribe to this, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.